here on this wonderful channel, Manifesting Greatness Now. So I got a great video for you guys today. Well, a great live. And we're going to be discussing living from the end, what it truly means, how to go about it in the most effective way, and so on. You want to go inside? Yeah, you want to go inside. All right, get inside. Come on. So living from the end. What is living from the end, right? If you're in this community, especially the Neville Goddard and Law of Assumption community, I guarantee you have come across the term of live in the end or live from the end, or rather the phrase. But what exactly is it? What exactly is living from the end? Living from the end is living your life with the certainty, confidence, trust involving knowing it's done, knowing that you have it, and so on. Now, you're always living from the end. Think about it like this. You are in a constant state of knowing that you have access to use the bathroom, to eat food, to breathe air. You're constantly living from the end involving these things. Therefore, you're constantly experiencing it. Like you're never not living from the end. This is the misconception that people have. People within this community feel that they're only sometimes living from the end, as if it's a technique, as if it's something that you just sometimes do. Living from the end is a continuous thing. It's just like manifesting as a whole. It's a continuous thing. It can't just simply be turned off just because you will for it to be as such. It's a continuous thing. You're either living from the end of what you want or what you don't want. That's the easiest way that I can put it for you. You're either living from the end of what you want or what you don't want. You're either living from the end of fear or from love. Now that we've discussed what living from the end is, let's discuss living in the end, because in my opinion, there's a difference between living in the end versus living from the end. The goal here is to live from the end, okay? To live from the end of what you want. The knowing, the trust, the certainty that you have what you want, that it's already done, that you've already experienced it internally. Living in the end is, you're kind of like on the fence. Oh, thank you, I appreciate it. You're kind of on the fence involving it, okay? Living in the end is you're on the fence involving it. What does this mean? It means you, for the most part, right? For the most part, you have this certainty and confidence that something is done, something is happening, but you're still focusing on time. Hey, how's it going? You're still focusing on time. You're still focusing on the how. You're still focused on the middle, trying to make something happen. How's it going? You're still acting with force. See, this is the difference between living in the end versus living from the end. When you're living from the end, you know it's done. You know you have it. You're no longer really focusing on time. You're no longer really focusing on the middle or the steps in between, the 3D as a whole. You've almost kind of let that go, okay? Either wholeheartedly 100% or dang well close. So that's the difference between living in the end versus living from the end. This is what living from the end. This is what living in the end is, okay? So if you have any confusion involving living in the end versus living from the end, all you got to do is just recap the first 4 or so minutes of this live. Now, how do we go about living from the end in an effective way? How can we effectively begin? How you doing, Chloe? How can we effectively begin to live from the end of what we want versus what we don't want? Well, this is where the affirmations come into play. This is where the meditations come into play, the scripting sessions, the EFT shamanic tapping, the affirmations, the subliminals, whatever you favor, whatever you resonate with, whatever you decide to engage with. When you're consistently every day, when you're consistently, and it's got to be an everyday thing if you want the best results, when you're consistently every day doing your affirmations, visualizing, utilizing those guided meditations, those EFT shamanic tapping sessions, etc. When you're consistently saturating your mind from the end of being worthy of anything you desire, knowing everything works out for you on a continuous basis, financial freedom, romantic marriage with your SP, that dream home, that dream car, when you're consistently utilizing the affirmations and the meditations and the visualizations, etc., involving the things that you want, you begin to tip the scales. You begin to live from the end in a natural way of what you want as opposed to what you don't want. Because right now, you may be in a position of living from the end predominantly of what you don't want. The goal here is to live from the end predominantly of what you do want. And that's why the affirmations, the meditations, the techniques, etc., could be potentially so powerful and beneficial for you. If consistently involved with every day, you'll begin to tip the scales, you'll shift your consciousness, you'll change your vibe, you'll change the quality of your thoughts, your energy, your beliefs. You're basically, going to be, quote unquote, reprogramming your subconscious mind. So therefore, you'll begin to live from the end more effortlessly, more easily, predominantly involving what you want as opposed to what you don't want, both subconsciously and consciously. Now, what does this mean involving your manifestations? When you're living from the end predominantly of, for example, being in a beautiful romantic relationship with your partner, when you're living from that end predominantly, you're going to be naturally involving yourself with healthy thoughts that employ that desired reality fulfilled, which are going to lead to healthy feelings that you're going to experience, as well as healthy beliefs, assumptions, expectations, actions, and so on for the most part. And all of that is going to equivalate to you actually experiencing it in physical form. You just don't know exactly how and when it may happen. But if you live from the end of what you want, from a place of love, from a place of unconditional love, you were going to, I said were, didn't I? I meant to say you are going to experience what you want in physical form in the most easy, effortless, fastest, etc. type of way possible. So this is the secret sauce, living from the end of what you want. And if you're manifesting, by the way, a specific person, and I do have to give you this reminder, the goal here isn't to live from the end of the middle, okay, because that's living in the end. Remember what I talked about earlier. When you're living in the end, you're focusing on the steps in between. You want to live from the end of what you deeply desire, within the heart of your hearts, the mind of your mind, your entire being, and everything in between. You want to live from the end of being in that beautiful, everlasting, passionate, fun-loving marriage, relationship fulfilled with your person. When it comes to money, you could be a little bit more lenient involving it because there's such an abundance of it. Think about it like this way. There's an abundance of money. There's an abundance of health. And things of that nature. But you only got one romantic interest that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So that's why when it comes to the money, it's a little bit more, in my opinion, okay to focus on those extra things. But when it comes to your SP, eradicate the middle and live from the end of what you deeply desire, which is the fully solidified romantic relationship, marriage fulfilled. Now, what would be the middle in this case? Stop focusing on text messages, dates, I love you messages, apologies, ongoing communication, them choosing you and only you, them being obsessed. Eradicate all of that. Eradicate all of that and replace it with me and SP are blissfully married. Visualize the wedding anniversary. Ask questions such as, why am I now happily married to the love of my life? Utilize guided meditations that employ that you're married to this person or that you're in a romantic relationship. If you don't desire marriage, then the romantic relationship would be for you. So this is it. This is it. This is, in my opinion, I think one of the most informative lives that I've done in a while. I think I'm actually going to share this live with other people because this is very, very educational, very informative. But this is what it is, okay? This is what it is. You live from the end. Little gamer, I do see your questions, by the way. There's a reason why I'm not replying to you or answering the question. I do realize that you are a troll, another internet troll. You have no insight to provide to this live manifestation wise, and you're asking, and out of the blue type of question. So there's a reason why I'm not responding to it. So getting back to what I was saying, yeah, that's what it is at the end of the day. You live from the end of what you want. You live from the end of what it is that you deeply want as opposed to what you don't want. You live from the end of love versus fear. And that's all there is to it. Okay? So, having said that, if you guys have any questions, you can ask down below any manifestation questions, any appropriate manifestation questions. How you doing, boss? And that's all there is to it. All right? I'm going to end this live. I'm going to pin a comment down below with contact information for coaching, following me on other social media platforms, etc. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day, a beautiful rest of your day. Feel free to like, subscribe, click that bell, share, do whatever you feel inclined to do. I appreciate you being here. The ones that have viewed this, that have made it to this point, thank you. I am very grateful for you. Much love, much peace. God bless and take care. Okay.